Thank you very much, Cahill, and could I just thank the delegation for the excellence of their presentations. Extremely detailed, well presented, positive, but outlining the challenges as well that face the region. And as our Cathaoirleach said, this meeting follows on from the very detailed briefing we had with you in the Guildhall some months ago. I recall very well in my earliest days here in the Oireachtas that the late Senator Paddy McGowan of Donegal, who was a powerful advocate in this Oireachtas in relation to the needs of Donegal and neighbouring counties, and the North West in particular, he always spoke about the potential for cross-border development. That was in the early 1990s when things were rather dark on this island, and he still kept outlining the potential. And when we listen to you today and see in Derry and Donegal the huge cooperation and the results of that cooperation, the benefits for the entire people in both sides of the border, of the different initiatives that have been painstakingly put in place, it's a great forward step that has been achieved. And I have to say that wasn't achieved without people from all political sides stepping out of a comfort zone and pushing out the boundaries for the benefit of working in the best interests of all the people. Could I just say that I'm delighted that the Cathaoirleach Seamus mentioned with the Memorandum of Understanding being signed with the North and West Regional Assembly. I was speaking to some of the members of that assembly on the day they were in the Guildhall with you, and they were very glad that that particular MOU was signed. When you think of the counties that are represented in the North and West Regional Assembly, Cavan, Leitrim, Sligo, Roscommon, Mayo and Galway. And it's very, very important that Derry, the part of Tyrone that's in your catchment area in Donegal, that you're working and collaborating with your neighbours in that part of the country as well, because there are many similar needs. And of course in that area there are similar opportunities for development as well, working together. Could I just say, oftentimes when we think of the western half of the country, maybe away from the east coast in particular, we always think of the older age cohort. It's very heartening to listen and to see the statistic there in regard to the 350,000 population in your immediate area, that 35% of that cohort of people are under the age of 25. That's a very encouraging piece of information, and it obviously bodes very well for the future. And again, as Seamus, the Chief Executive, outlined, and Mr Kelpie as well, the huge effort to ensure the retention of people in the area through third level and further education, because we all know it's where people are educated at further education at third level that they often continue to reside. So keeping that talent and those people in your region is very, very important. And we had the opportunity to meet some of the colleges when we were in Derry, and prior to that we met the Letterkenny Institute people on a previous visit. It's great to see that cooperation, that collaboration, and that putting the best use resources that are always limited as well. Could I just say, during the course of the last Dáil, at my request, this committee met Donegal, and I think it was Omagh District Council at the time, in regard to the development of the N2A5. I had requested that you make presentations to this committee, and at that time when the project wasn't moving on, we were conscious here in this committee of keeping that project on the agenda. And it's every one of you spoke today about the importance of that. I know about the importance of it from part of my own constituency, from the Monaghan side, and any of us who travel directly from Dublin to Letterkenny on to Derry, we know of that yawning gap in infrastructure that needs to be reversed. And consistently over the years, we have supported that project, and we want to see it move forward. It's absolutely essential. And just all of us are aware that we don't know what the outcome of Brexit will be, but it will be negative anyway for our island, regardless of what form of Brexit arises. It's going to have a negative, adverse impact for all of our island. But could I just say, and I have repeated it in the Dáil chamber and our committees here, Foreign Affairs Committee and this committee, within the competence of our own government, our decisions in regard to investment in infrastructure. There are some areas that unfortunately The government of the day of the Oireachtas will not get their way on. So, some areas that are outside the national competence that will be decided in other fora. But could it's just, and I think we should appeal to the government again, to identify the infrastructural needs and prioritise the infrastructural needs of the border region that will be impacted first and most adversely by Brexit. If we don't have a modern infrastructure to try to assist businesses remain competitive, to make our region easier to get to, then we will be in difficulty. So the lack of the N2A5 upgrade absolutely essential, as are other road links throughout the Derry-Donegal region and also down in the north and west region as well. So all of us here in the Oireachtas, I know, and I'm sure it's happened in other parliamentary assemblies as well, we've asked the government to prioritise the infrastructure needs of the border region. That's at the frontier of Brexit, if you want to call it that. All our island will be impacted by Brexit, but we are literally at the frontier, so we are. And I have to say, today it's heartening to listen to you, what has been achieved. When I go back to my earliest days in the Oireachtas and listening to colleagues, both Oireachtas colleagues from Donegal and the North West, and listening to councillors over the years too that I know through party meetings and other fora, it's heartening to know what has been achieved, but it's also a challenge to all of us to ensure that the potential that can be realised, that it should be realised in the best interests of our people. And again, I go back to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the North and West Regional Assembly. We had the Irish Central Border Area Network, ICBAN, and the Eastern Border region that the Cathaoirleach here was very closely associated with in the past. They came to this committee some weeks ago and made excellent presentations as well. There's a determination within each of these regional groupings to deal with the challenges that we have, and I'd be very glad as a member of the Oireachtas here to continue to support your very, very important and valuable work. Thank you, Cathaoirleach.